So we're just going to kind of work our way all the way across here. Right here you've got your different zoom options. There I've zoomed out to 50% or into 200% or just at good old 100%. These options right here are the number formatting options. If you wanted to, I can automatically say, hey, I want this 12. It actually represents $12. So I'm going to format this cell as currency. So if I click there, then that's formatted as currency. And then you can see because this cell down here was dependent upon that cell, it formatted that one as well as currency. If I wanted to, I could put this as a percent. And wow, we've got quite a large percent. I'm going to change that to 0.95. And then I'll say format as percent. So now it says 95% or 0.00%. And then we can change this one to 0.02. And then I'll format that as a percent. So now I've got 2%. So 95% and 2% is giving me that 97% right there. Now, if you're like me, you look at that and you say, those extra zeros, I really don't want those. So what we can do is I'm going to select all of these. And that actually leads us to these next two options. That is decrease decimal places and increase decimal places. So if I decrease the decimal places while I have all of those selected, you can see it's actually decreasing that those decimals. If I increase, then it does just like what you would think. You may wonder, well, what happens if it's 95.5% and then I decrease the decimal until there's only those whole number digits, so to speak. And let's find out. Get rid of mark. Oh, it rounds it just like we would hope it did to 96%. But internally, if we actually look up here, this row right here is actually showing you what is on what is in that cell legitimately. So it's really 95.5%. But when I hit enter, because it's formatted, it's showing at 96%. So if I click here, you can, on the 2%, you can see how that's what's inside there. So even though this is showing 97.5, that's the result of the formula. I can always look at this. This is called the formula bar. Okay, that's great. Let's see, what else can we do? There are lots of other ways that I can format these numbers, and this right here is all the different formats. Whether it's a number, percent, scientific, accounting, you can format it as a date and time, and then you can even get pretty involved with all that. So anyway, there's your formatting options. You also obviously have the font. At any time you could select some or all of your text and change the font. You could change the size, just your standard bold, italic, strike through, text color. Fill color. Now this one's kind of interesting. This is the borders. You can already see there's some light gray lines here indicating which cell is which. But if I were to print this out, that may or may not show up. In this case, it is kind of showing up as a light gray. I could turn that option off. I don't remember exactly how to do that. But sometimes you actually want a very visible dark line grid there, and that's what this button right here is going to be for. So I can select, maybe if I want all of those to have borders, then there you go. They've got lines all around the whole outside edge. I'm going to undo that and show you maybe a little bit larger section. So maybe I just want this is all the middle ones or all the top ones. I just turned both of those on. So I'm going to, this option right here, I can undo that. You can change the border color and the style, whether it's dashed or solid or whatever. Anyway, all sorts of different things you can do there. It's also possible, sometimes you want cells to merge. Maybe if I'm doing some sort of title here, I don't know. And so that's what this cell is, or this icon here is merge cells. You can even have different merge types, but I'm just going to click on merge. I've got this one and this one selected, those two cells, and I click merge, and now you can see it's just one cell. And that can be helpful maybe if you would want something to be centered over a large, I don't know, table, whatever. And to undo that operation, I could hit undo, or I could just hit unmerge, and now there's two separate cells. If I try to merge when they both have data in, it's going to give us a a warning that says, heads up, merging cells will only preserve the top leftmost value. Do you want to merge anyway? So it'll keep the hello world, but drop all this stuff. And I say, yeah, sure, that's fine. I don't care about that. That was just for demonstration. So I'll do something else here. I'll select all of that and then go back and add that border, every one of them. And so now you can very clearly see that that top cell has been merged. Let's see. We've got our standard align tools. I kind of like this hello world one to be centered. There we go. And then vertical align. I'll show you what that's all about now that trick is there. If we go over to the rows, we can actually put the cursor here between any two and adjust the size of those. For various reasons, you might want to do that. But now you can see the default is that it's always going to be at the bottom of that cell. And let's say I want this to be right in the middle. In fact, I'll make this even a little bit more obvious. So what I can do is I can click on this vertical alignment and put it right in the middle, or I can put it on the top. I kind of like it there in the middle. If you have lots of text, it will default to just going horizontal. You get the idea. All right, so now in this case, I typed a lot of text. Now it's being nice to us and kind of showing us all this, but and showing the whole text. But that's just because there's nothing in these other cells. If I type anything like hello again, then it's going to cut off, and this one gets cut off completely. But I don't want to get cut off completely. I want to see all of that. I could obviously, up here, I could change the column width, but I don't want to. I want this to kind of wrap, and so that's what this text wrapping one is. I think there's even some options. I can overflow, wrap, or clip. So let's just click on wrap. There you go. If you have lots of text, it will just default to just, and still didn't get all of it, so I might need to pull this down. So just some formatting things. Of course, then I would want to center that vertically. Okay. And then here, this is going to give you some text rotation tools, which I don't really mess a whole lot, but if you wanted that to go vertical, there you go. I'm going to undo that. That's just kind of strange. I do use that in some cases. And then you've got, this is if you want to insert a hyperlink and some other charting, things like that. Okay.